good, man.
Good. Did you
Definitely
see your
good.
mother this weekend?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Are you up?
Yeah.
Are you near her? Or?
Oh yeah. No, I came up for the weekend, and I'll be back for I'm back Wednesday.
Awesome. Awesome. So, well, happy Mother's Day to your mother, man.
Yeah, thanks, and likewise. Hey, did you
Awesome.
ever register for the get your media cred for BTC Miami yet?
I can't remember. I've got the tab open somewhere. I better check it. When does that
Yeah,
start?
I think it starts Thursday.
Oh shit. All right. I'll check it.
So double check on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
Because it'll be a new set of people. Because none of the people from like ETH Denver or well,
All right.
not many or Consensus are going.
All right.
So it'll be fun.
Yes, sir. I have a shit ton loaded up here, Joe. So I guess we'll get rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm
I don't know
excited.
if you have any news you want to chat about before we get started, but let's see. Here we go. So I thought this was really fascinating. It wasn't something I was thinking about, but Lightning is now available on Litecoin.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I always thought Litecoin was really cheap. I have no idea where their fees are these days, but it also brings up that then you would assume that all Bitcoin cloned chains can use Lightning. So I think that includes Dogecoin and others. But I'm trying to understand if it's a real benefit to Litecoin if the fees are already pretty cheap. I always thought Litecoin fees were really cheap. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Max Life says Monday Fun Day. Yes, sir. Let's hope.
I have been following that dialogue in the Telegram channel on ordinals, and I guess supposedly stuff is well, depending on who's talking, stuff seems to be slowing down or not slowing down, and how that affects Lightning. Specifically how I guess it, processes or batches stuff up to it or something like that. How it's making it more expensive, and so you get that debate going between you controlling the chain or are you just letting it run?
Right.
And I'm kind of, I don't know the answer to that, I guess, is what I'm saying. But I think it's intriguing how now they're kind of running into same issues that say, I don't want to say the same and offend anybody, but remember when Ethereum before like Polygon and everybody came out and their gas fees went sky high, like they are now too.
Yeah.
They are that Pepe and Ord and all these guys are killing gas fees over there. It's like $55-$60 on ETH. I'm wondering what kind of innovation comes out of this sort of, I don't know, congestion or whatever on the BTC Lightning stuff. I mean, what do you think?
I think what it does is it benefits Lightning in that it drives people to it, right? Because if things are clogged up or if the fees are high, then people are going to look. If they just want to transfer funds, they're going to look and see if they can figure out Lightning and make it work for them, right? So
yeah,
it was interesting. Sean in our Telegram, by the way, if you're not in it, you really should. I'm going to show you a few things in a minute, but Sean said on the verify don't trust motto, here are the facts about the BTC blockchain. BRC20s have neither caused an all-time high in mempool weight or fees paid. As ever in this space, it seems that some biased narrative takes over mind space more than facts. I don't think he's arguing that the fees are high right now, but I think what he's saying is people were claiming that this was the highest ever clogging and fees and everything else. And I guess this chart is to show that, back in January of 2018, when things were hot and bothered, it was much higher. It was as high or a little higher in January to July of 2021. So this looks like it was more like June 2021. And then this is now, it's still lower now than it was in like March of 2023. So I think Sean likes to point out that sometimes the hype overtakes the reality, but the fact is that the higher the fees, obviously that answers the issue of, is there a model for post block mining? Like all the tokens are out after the 21 million. Is there a way to generate fees that will sustain people securing the network? And I think this has proven that it's possible if applications can be used the way these are on the chain. And then secondarily, if Now I lost my whole fucking train of thought.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's all right. It's all good. I'm out of it today.
Alzheimer's?
The other thing I was saying was I think it might push people to investigate Lightning better. Yes, Alzheimer's. And because it's supposed to provide a faster, easier way to transfer funds, the problem is, we can tell Chuck's saying settlement on Lightning is still jammed up behind BTC transaction glut. The value moves point to point over Lightning, but it still has to end up with a destination wallet transfer at the end, right? Good point, right? So at the end of the day, it can get the funds going from point to point, but it can't finalize into the wallet until the network is not congested. So very good point. Shizzy said there's a Litecoin halvening in 78 days. That's interesting. All right. Look, it's funny. I remember back when you and I were first playing in crypto that we used Lightning for like transferring funds and shit, a good amount. And I mean, not Lightning, Litecoin.
Litecoin, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not something I've messed with, but I know they have an avid community. They keep building, et cetera, et cetera. So it's interesting to see them adopt it. And I would assume it's even cheaper on Litecoin. But I'm trying to understand if there's really a need for it on Litecoin. I always thought Litecoin was pretty fast and pretty cheap, but if anybody knows better, please speak up. I'd love to chat about that. So anyway, that's what Sean said. Let's get into some more news here. So MakerDAO has launched this thing they're calling the 5 phases of Endgame. And I thought this was really fascinating. It ends up in phase 5 with them having their own chain, which they claim will be tightly coupled with Ethereum. But it goes through these phases of new versions of both of their tokens, DAI and Maker, that are supposedly improved in some way. Sub-DAO launches. So they're going to start diverting some of the workload they have on their main DAO into sub-DAOs. And those sub-DAOs can be funded by the main DAO, but also can be funded by users who want to come in and earn yield on whatever that sub-DAO is doing. I thought that was fascinating. It's something I've been talking a lot about. So that's interesting. And then phase 3, they are building AI tools for governance. So they are actually building tools that will automate a lot of the functionality and things that happen in governance to make it faster and easier to manage, to reduce the problem with low participation. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that farms out. And they're also going to be funding with grants AI-related projects as well as other projects for the sub-DAOs. So they're essentially trying to create a machine, right, that has a lot of automation with AI, makes smart decisions with AI, allows people to participate at multiple levels within the ecosystem and help build things around the network, create a better stablecoin, create a better platform, better coins, better governance. And then they're going to start launching an incentive for governance. So again, working to solve the problem of the fact that people don't actually participate. So they're going to build in a reward system for that. And then the final thing is they think that they need a chain. Now, I haven't read the rationalization for a chain, but the idea is, I guess, that they want more control over what happens within their governance. And so they're going to put a lot of that on the chain. And that's where the sub-DAO tokens will live. But really interesting strategy they're going forward with here. It's pretty friggin' comprehensive. And I think they're realizing the problems with the way DAOs function, the way governance happens, and they're trying to create a solution that keeps people engaged, keeps them rewarded for being engaged, and automating a lot of the functionality of governance that doesn't need to require a human to actually do something. And I think that's a good thing for the ecosystem. So I'm glad to see they're taking that on. We'll see how it works. It's all a big experiment, but you got to love that they're doing it. You know?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these, everybody's playing the end game, but to me, I think there's another big phase in the middle there that people are sort of not paying enough attention to in my mind, and that's the consolidation phase. There's just and I see Sean talking about it a lot, how many altcoins there are out there.
Sure.
And, you start thinking about that, and then I start thinking about chains, and you know what? we got 300 chains or something out there,
At least.
and new ones coming on all the time, and there's not room for everybody. So
Yeah.
Something's going to have to happen there, which is going to narrow the playing field as we get to this innovation type stuff that MakerDAO is talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the acquirer, maybe they buy all the other ones. But
I could see them rolling up some protocols, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, they obviously have pretty stringent security standards and tokenomic standards, but I could definitely see the big players like this merging in other protocols.
Yeah, I mean, even just like when I was at Consensus and I was talking to some of the, the enterprise focused chains, and one was EVM compatible and the other was purposely built not to be EVM compatible. And you hear their arguments about, if you're going to sell blockchain to gov or to enterprise, the problems with EVM in those markets. And so, again, something that basic, which is just kind of dividing the market up between, who will be the dominant players and enterprise versus, I guess, grassroots entrepreneurialism. That stuff hasn't even been shaken out yet at all.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm really curious how this is all going to sort out, because if done the right way, it could be astronomically incredible. But obviously, done the wrong way, it can, it'll lead to another way, I guess, at that point. But I love this kind of innovation. I think they're a little worried everybody starts saying AI all the time, though, now. Just like, we've all been in the past and everybody attaches a buzzword to something. And AI has been that buzzword in the past, too.
Sure.
But I actually see real progress going on.
Yeah, and I see this as a practical application. This is like if you think about the kind of the modular functionality of crypto, of smart contracts, it makes total sense to say, okay, we have all these mechanisms that have to function and work together within governance, right? And it's a nice isolated, verticalized niche case. It's like all this functionality has to work together, and sometimes you need this piece, and sometimes you need that piece, and sometimes you need that piece. Well, if every time they have to do something on chain with governance, right? They have to have a governance vote that actually makes something happen on chain. If you actually use that automation via AI to make that safer and faster and be able to just pick the pieces you need and have AI do it, or AI know what it needs to pick and do it, then that's a really cool model. So I'm really curious to see where this ends up for them. But I like seeing this. I think that obviously with 5 phases, they're going to learn lessons along the way, and there's going to be some changes probably in where this whole thing ends up. But I like the vision. I like the fact that they're thinking about it. And I think it puts them in, it cements them further as a blue chip that people will be looking to lead innovation in the space. So it's good to see. Absolutely good to see.
What I'm curious about, though, is when like when we talk about like bots and things like that, like trading bots, like the buy the dip bot, basically. How do you then? I mean, whenever I hear stuff like that, I'm already kind of thinking of AI algorithm, basically.
Sure.
That's executing on something. But I guess my question is, how do you take that to the next level? Is it that when a signal like that hits, a trading signal hits, then it's looking at, say, business model analysis or macro conditions in the different vertical markets or the sector they're in, and then maybe trying to lay some industry analysis on top of the trading signal? I mean, it just seems like you can take this a really long way, is what I'm getting at.
So what we are actually looking at that right now. And one of the biggest hindrances to implementing, our bots, our mean reversion bots, is that, we can see market conditions, we have all the data, and we needed the expertise to be able to identify those things from a machine learning basis. Well, now we can actually, with some of the new stuff that's happening with plugins with ChatGPT, load all of our historical data in there, and then we can theoretically train models based on our data, but also based on macro market conditions, on TVL, on right. And so we can massage those pieces together so that the AI is specific to our strategy, and then it'll make decisions on every signal based on current conditions, right? So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. All of the things that you mentioned are all going to be players in this formula, and we're looking at that right now. So absolutely.
Particularly the exit. That's what I find so intriguing because, you fire the signal fires, it executes the buy, and then when does it exit? And so it seems to me like you could take your historical data and you could look at the various hold times after the signal fired to determine when was the optimal exit. And then, I don't know, statistically analyze that across every single instant. And you could probably come up with some pretty good guesses on when you should be, automatically exiting 60 seconds after buy or 3 minutes after buy or something. And that would give you that would take more human decision out of it.
Exactly.
Which, as you and I know, we always talk about it. The hardest part is buying and selling.
Exactly. No, I think you're spot on there.
That's cool.
Chuck said, Joe, imagine a swarm of trading bots all sharing performance info amongst themselves, then breeding better strategies based on their performance, right?
Yeah.
So you could have these swarms of bots that are out all doing small variations on the overall strategy, and then testing against them. They can be doing that as paper trading first, but then as people are trading with the bots, those are all teaching each other, right? And then you create these AI models that optimize it. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're gonna create new libraries of signals too. When those bots are talking to each other, that no market participants are picking up on right now.
That's exactly right. Because you're exactly right. Because there's too many things that we can't see that something like that can see, right? So, Shizzy said,
because you could be integrating wallets. Sorry, final point. Ahead. You could be integrating wallets and people that are big traders or market makers on those targets, right away. It could be signal fires, boom, the 6 wallets that you track related to that token. What are they saying at that point and how are they interacting? And that creates a signal that says buy or sell or when buy. To me, that's going to get really, really interesting fast.
I think so too. I totally agree, dude. I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting shit happen. Chuck said, you want to be at the cool bot lunch table. You aren't going to get these improved genetic algorithms from any centralized provider. Totally agree.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a kind of special access. Let's do a couple little regulatory things. This was really interesting to me. U.S. Chamber of Commerce filed a brief in the Coinbase versus SEC case, calling out the SEC for acting unlawfully in the digital asset space. This is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, not the Chamber of Digital Commerce. And it is a big deal. I agree with him absolutely 100%. I was really surprised that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a fairly conservative, old school organization, would step out to take this very proactive attack approach to the Coinbase SEC challenge. I think it had to do with the categorizations as well of the exchanges. And then, of course, there are points where regulatory uncertainty is killing innovation in the U.S. The SEC is destabilizing the digital assets regulatory environment, and the SEC is violating constitutional due process and fair notice rights. And they declared the SEC's actions are not just harmful policy, they are unlawful, and the consequences of the SEC's continued delay are severe for that reason too. So anyway, I loved seeing this. I've never been, look, I'm not as conservative as most of the chamber's positions usually are on political issues, but I'm sure as fuck happy to see that. So bring it on. Bring more.
Yeah, no, I was surprised at that too. That's like, the Rotary Club opening up a weed store or something like that. It was totally not expected, but I love that they're recognizing the commerce or the value being created in the space. And now they're jumping in. So that's cool.
Because they know at the end of the day, their job is to supposedly be to grow business, right? And so they see an entire industry being run out of the country. And another example of industry being running out of the country is Binance pulled out of Canada. I am not familiar with what Canada's been doing on the regulatory front, but evidently it's scary enough for friggin' Binance to get out. So it's just another example of countries who are going to cede leadership. We're seeing a lot of Abu Dhabi stuff. We're seeing a lot of Hong Kong stuff. We're seeing a lot of other countries being, welcoming the folks getting pushed out of their countries. And so I really think it's look, I'm actually starting to feel a little more positive about the scenario here, because I'm starting to see more and more. On Bankless last week, a Democratic congressman was on basically saying the same shit that we all say and the Republicans say about the SEC, Gensler, and crypto. And I think it's really important that the pro-crypto Democrats come out to make sure that crypto people see that this is a bipartisan opposition and support issue. And so I'm hoping we see more of that happening. So this was really quick. I just want to quickly hit this one. At first I saw this headline and I was like, holy shit, are they softening up? SEC seeks to slash $22 million fine on crypto firm Library to $111,000. And I thought, wow, why are they softening up on Library all of a sudden after they spent probably millions of dollars pursuing persecution of them? But it's not. It's the fact that Library doesn't have enough money to shut down, as they said they were going to do after they lost the case. And so the SEC is basically dropping the fine this much to give them the ability to shut the whole thing down and move along. So they just wanted to cement their
Hey man, I want that gig. If it costs 21 million plus to shut down a company, sign me up for that.
No, that was the fine. Right.
But they lower it down so that now they have enough money to pay their shutdown cost or something. I mean,
exactly.
So they dropped it 21 million. Yeah, that's crazy. But I think that's funny as shit, man. That's funny.
Yeah. Hey, if you're not in our Telegram, what's wrong with you? Like, seriously. Look, El Hambre, Hippo, I believe several others are just in the airdrop channel alone.
Yeah.
There's so much good shit going on. You guys are missing out on opportunities for free money. Obviously, this is not financial advice. There are always risks in these things. Glad to see Tommy Dickfingers participating as well, because you can't help but love that name. Nickel is also posting stuff. John Niblitz is posting in here. Everybody's kind of got together and started posting in these opportunities for ways to earn some free money. So I would encourage you to take a look. I would encourage you to be cautious and understand that, some of these could be scams or exploits, but I do know that the ones that are getting posted are usually by folks who've already participated in them. And if you have any doubts or questions about any of them, let's have a discussion about that. But, this is the place to do it. Sean is continuing to post great data and information. He posted over the weekend his chart on the altcoins, shitcoins that he's watching, and has his zones picked for buying. There's our Canto right here with a zone of 0.078 to 0.097 is where his buy zone for Canto. As he said on the show last week, he's still a big fan of how well it's sticking with supports. And so, you're missing out on a lot. T.me/mission DeFi, T.me/mission DeFi. Get in there and join. We had some new folks joining over the weekend. Really glad to see it. One of the airdrops, potential airdrops, is a new chain. You were just saying 300 plus chains, make it 301. A new chain called Venom. And there are specific tasks to complete on their testnet where you can earn Venom tokens. No idea what those are going to be worth or if they're worth anything right now, but definitely something to check out. Now, it's the standard kind of argument, very secure, but very scalable, 100,000 plus transactions per second, yada, 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 that we hear about every chain, but it's still very interesting to see. And again, it's just an opportunity, but go check it out. Maybe this turns into something well, and maybe these tokens are worth a lot of money. As Niblitz said, not financial advice, but take free money when it's offered. So yeah, just be cautious, use fresh wallets. Don't connect yourself to something that could later on harm you. Be very careful about what you expose and don't expose in these, but join the Telegram.
Well, I was going to crack a joke, but I thought even that's a little too much. But anyhow, next topic.
Yeah. One of the things that El Hombre pointed out is this really cool tool on Arkham. And I hadn't been on Arkham in a while, Joe, and
Neither have I.
they've done quite a bit in there. But this is pretty cool. It's a way to find out what wallets are linked to what wallets, right? So a lot of security, Zach XBT uses these kinds of tools. One's called Breadcrumbs. But the idea is you can find out, put in a wallet address and find out the wallets that are associated with that wallet, not just wallets that it's sent to and from, but things that indicate to the data that it's actually a wallet probably connected to the same owner of the primary wallet. So it's really cool. It also will show you transactions and things that are going on it. But this is really cool. He actually said that he somehow discovered through using this, I don't see it yet, that he was connected to LinkedIn with his wallet in some way. So I'm not sure how that data surfaces in this system, but it's a good way to kind of see what you've got exposed for yourself. But also you could probably check on some wallets that you're following or copy trading to see what other wallets they may have that are also doing strategies that you can't see in the main wallet. So pretty cool to see that they've launched this feature. I like it. I'm good with that. So
yeah. Hey, question. If you move money from a central exchange to I guess a new wallet, let's say you were moving off of Binance money and, I guess you could, there's no way to, I guess what I'm getting at is, does Arkham pick up that relationship between wallets that then go into a central exchange and then come out into new wallets at all?
No, they can't track it. No.
Okay.
Wait, I take that back. If you take it to a centralized exchange and convert it to fiat, right, and then send out of the exchange, if the exchange keeps the same wallet address for you, then that transaction is going to be seen as coming from the same wallet to the new wallet.
Oh,
so
if the exchange has the same wallet, okay,
yeah, and most do today. Like if my Binance US account, my Coinbase account, I can deposit over and over again using the same Ethereum wallet for any of the EVM chains, right? And I don't get a new wallet every time I do a deposit. So that could be tracked, right? If I sent something from my wallet into Coinbase or Binance US, it's going to that wallet address. And then if later it sees it coming out, it'll be the same wallet.
Yeah, because I could see if I was someone who was trading that kind of volume, or I had a reputation as someone people were stalking my wallet, I would be trying constantly to not get front run, basically.
I would expect that the big guys can probably through the high net worth parts of the exchanges get new wallets. I would almost yeah. So they'd get a new wallet. They deposit from their old wallet, exchange to fiat, bring it back to the new wallet that Coinbase or whomever gives them because they're high net worth, and then they can pull it out from there. I would expect that's actually even probably a function of the system, right? Because I'm sure that's a common problem. Yeah, absolutely. BRC20 tokens did surpass 1 billion in market cap. Yes, I think it was yesterday. So 2 months in, there's already 1 billion in market cap for BRC20 tokens. Fascinating to me, man. This whole thing is just, I love kind of spectating on this one because it's a lot of fun to watch that they're doing this.
Yeah, obviously lots of debate in the Telegram channel on this. So.
Yes, yeah, lots to discuss there. Niblet says fiat, the original tornado cash. Chuck says now it's the parking lot at Denny's with people swapping wads of cash for wallet keys, which is actually people have gone to prison for.
That's the local Bitcoin stuff, right?
Local money transmitters. There was a guy up in Boston, I think, just got out of prison. I think he served 6 months. And I don't even, Sean knows this story. I'm not sure I'm right. But there was a guy that was serving in prison for a short period of time that was associated with somebody doing illegal money transfers. He wasn't actually doing it. But he got caught up in that investigation and got busted, I think, for a parking lot exchange. Sean says an untraceable wallet swap on a SEX cannot be traced. Yeah, but how do you get the secondary? how do you get the secondary address if it gives you the same address? Maybe Bitcoin addresses are different every time, which is supposedly the best security model, but I'm not sure. Sean, if you know, let us know. Okay. Whoops. Oh, I love this analogy. So I just wanted to point it out. I'm not going to go into the story. Meme coins are like the Powerball for crypto.
That's true, man. I mean,
I think that's
there's
great.
a couple of channels. Yeah, there's a couple of channels I'm in that I was just shocked at some of the plays they're doing, but they're just all diving into these like, meme coin Ponzi's basically. I mean, some are not. I'm not picking on all of them, but you really are trading on herd mentality, and that's about it. So it is like a lottery ticket. But does anyone ever think that these are going to become lottery winners? I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well,
I think you trade the range, right?
Well, there are people that have made, there was a guy last week that invested like $250 and ended up with multiple millions in value on PayPay, I believe. So, I mean, it has happened. If you bought early and you just said, fuck it, I'm going to hit every one of these meme coins, and then you get out, right? Sean says, inter-account swap any coin. It's all off ledger and source is a combined SEX wallet. Okay. So what he's saying is if you deposit it in and you do a swap in the exchange, it comes back into your account as the new coin. And then you could push it out. So you could I think the best way to do that would be like cross chain, right? But ultimately they can still see it if you have the same assigned wallet address, you'll still see the transactions coming out of that wallet address.
Because it's going back to a wallet that it's already registered under. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what this means. Trade ogre sex is your friend. I don't know what he means. Do you know what he means, Joe?
That must be the name of a sex. Trade ogre?
You think? I don't know. That's a crazy.
I've never heard of it. But maybe
this was this was interesting. This was a survey. Who did the survey? Bloomberg's latest Market Live poll survey suggests that if the U.S. defaults on its debt, the top 3 havens will be gold, treasuries, and Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is tied with the dollar. But the fact that Bitcoin is one of the safe havens for both retail and institutional professional investors is pretty interesting to me. Retail investors say 11.3%, institutional say 7.8%, and then treasuries and gold obviously dominates, but still found this interesting that it's we've come to this stage where it's actually a high profile option. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's what most of the, Choke Point 2.0, to me was mostly about that specific connection and a big fear with the debt ceiling discussions and all of that, and there's something else was out there I was looking at yesterday, some big thing, but, that they just didn't want people to impulsively flood into Bitcoin out of the U.S. banking system or something, which to me was a bit overblown because most of these people are going to go to gold or diamonds or treasuries first. So it's not going to be this huge stampede into Bitcoin. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to the other two. But, to me, I feel like that's what that was all about, trying to stop that. So when I see people looking at that as a risk, a hedge tool, that is very positive to me. And Trade Ogre, it's tradeogre.com. It is an exchange. So.
Yeah, Sean said Trade Ogre is the OG dodgy stuff sex. All right, so if you don't want to use Tornado Cash, looks like Trade Ogre may be the place to go. Niblett said gold. What year is this?
I saw gold was over $2,000 an ounce just a couple days ago or weeks ago or something, and I'm like, really? I sort of missed that completely.
Yeah, me too. Totally. Bitcoin addresses holding 1 Bitcoin or more has reached 1 million wallets. So that's pretty amazing. That's a lot of value locked into wallets, and I'm certainly glad to see that as well. Also a good sign for the space. So
yeah.
Let's see what else. This I found really fascinating. This project, I think I found them because they just raised a bit of money. This project Hourglass has a really cool model. So you can earn more from Ethereum staking using Frax's staking mechanism, right? But you have to time lock that, and you can't do anything with the receipt you get from the time locked Frax. Well, Hourglass has built a layer, and I'm assuming they're going to do this for other time locked tokens, has built a layer with a token that is now tradable, right? So you're not just locked up and can't do anything waiting for it. You can actually borrow against, leverage it, sell it, whatever, the token that represents your Frax ETH staking. So I thought that was, I think this is a really interesting play. I like seeing it, and I like anything that helps kind of the Frax ecosystem grow. So this is a cool play to me.
Yeah.
That's their website.
It is cool.
Trading stake positions. And I think we're going to see a lot more innovation happening around staking. I really think it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. More from MakerDAO, their Spark protocol has launched, which is a lending protocol, a lending marketplace focused on DAI. So you can borrow DAI against your assets. Glad to see they're still building and growing. Unfortunately, this is what you get when you go to their website. As an American, we're sorry, but this app does not allow users from the United States. So,
yeah.
Speaking of,
we all know what to do then, right? Everybody knows what to do then.
Of course,
yeah. No need to restate it, but yes. Okay.
Lido version 2, I believe, has passed governance for their upgrade to go into effect. And I had in my head exactly what was covered in that, but essentially improves the withdrawal process and speeds it up. But they're also building in the components for their supposed decentralization of their protocol. It also, I believe, allows for anybody to set up nodes now. And so it's making validator node setups permissionless. So really glad to see the biggest player of ETH staking, the biggest holder of ETH staking, starting to put the pieces in place to decentralize, to make the protocol more permissionless, and to get it out of being kind of a centralized play for staking. And obviously, they're the giant in the space. So it's really good to see these moves happening and good to see the community supporting, making it happen. And just glad to see it. I mean, I think they're a crucial part of infrastructure right now. And the fact that they're decentralizing components of it now is a good thing to see.
Oh, wow. It's some breaking news here. Guess who just made history? Some breaking news. I was looking for something else and I ran it. Guess who just made history as Sports Illustrated swimsuits cover model? The swimsuit edition.
I don't know who.
Martha Stewart.
This is a joke, right?
She's got it. One of 4 cover models to be featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated annual swimsuit issue.
Wow.
She's only 81, but it's like it should be interesting.
Yeah. I'm not looking that up.
No, yeah. Reminds me of like when we were in our 20s, or early 20s, in this group house in Georgetown, and we used to keep like, I mean, I guess this was kind of a fraternity thing back then, but there'd always be like porn in the bathroom or something like that. And then girls would come over for keg parties, like looking at porn. There'd be swimsuit magazines. It was just all this thing. It seems so weird to me now that we see Martha Stewart there.
Yeah. Shizzy said Martha's looking good these days, laughing out loud. Chuck said, at least it's not Nancy Pelosi.
I was thinking the same thing.
Or Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, I was thinking of your cougar crush. I was thinking Elizabeth Warren.
Niblets says 80 is the new 24 ? So there is some hope for us old curmudgeons. Yeah, well, I wouldn't hope for us necessarily.
So wait, when are we going to have the DeFi launch swimsuit edition?
Oh, we are not.
Sponsored by Spanx.
So this is really interesting. Contract secured revenue is, the Canto claim to fame of making a system that now allows people deploying on chain to get a cut of the the gas coming in, right? And someone has taken that model and created it as a generalized protocol that'll work on any EVM L2. So I'm really excited to see that innovations that are happening on this experimental thing that's happening at Canto actually being, starting to permeate the rest of crypto. And I think it's a really good thing. I don't think it's a great thing for Canto in terms of, engagement, developers coming on board, whatever. But I think it's a great thing for the whole space that contract secured revenue is now something that can be deployed on other chains. We know that Phantom was already working on something similar, but this now opens the door to other opportunities. So really, really cool to see somebody doing that and making it happen. Sean said Nancy has that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sean says Nancy has that S&M vibe. Niblet says Sean spelunking in forbidden caves. Careful, sir. Oh man. This conversation is infuriating. Is it almost time up? Yeah, good. Because we need to probably end this soon. I didn't care about that one.
What was that one?
Just a new protocol that secured $7 million in funding, cross-chain transfers, yada yada yada. Gitcoin is getting abused over the fact that they abused their power because they set up a grant for a $50,000 grant for projects that had diverse teams. So everybody's pissed off at them for giving. They're not pissed off necessarily about the diversity grant, but I'm sure there's an entire pile of people that are. They're pissed off that the control of the money for the grant was in the hands of a board or the board instead of being their normal on-chain voting process. So I think they probably did it that way because they were afraid it would be abused and go to an all-white team. So I get it, but anyway, they're getting.
Well, doesn't it seem? I mean. It just seems kind of just the amount of people that are in the technical space right now. I mean, Asian, South Asian, African, South American, whatever. I mean, I always wonder how much this is the diversity thing more of a thing for our generation, in the sense for the older chaps, because the 20 to 24-year-olds, I just don't see them giving a shit, in the sense they don't, do they? Yeah.
No, but if you look at the primary, the
incel white guy, the culture, yeah, I get
it. Yeah, and so if you look at the biggest protocols in the space, it's a lot of white guys, and I guess that's what they're going for. But I think you're absolutely right. Like my kids, I mean, it's like. They don't see anything, for them, it's like,
they really don't.
I mean, they see color, they see race, and but I think they actually like thrive on their cultural diversity. And that's actually part of their entire operating model. Right. Whereas, our generation, we all were segmented into our little worlds and rarely was there crossover. So, anyway, they got heat, I think, mainly for the control of it more than anything.
Well, so a question then. So if you're married with a mistress, does that count as diversity?
Yeah. So I read this article today. Jump and Jane Street are pulling the funds are pulling out of some of their liquidity providing, et cetera, which is harming small firms. But it reminded me of a project I'd wanted to bring up. And I can't remember if we've talked about it or not, but I love this concept. It's called Native. And this is a modular DEX. And the idea is that any protocol can integrate this DEX functionality and take advantage into their protocol and then take advantage of the entire ecosystem's liquidity. And they have some mechanism, I haven't climbed deep enough into it, but they have some mechanism on the back end that somehow pools the liquidity, even if it's on separate coins, to give new coins coming into this pool more liquidity. And it's a really cool concept to me. I need to take a deeper dive into understanding exactly how it works, but it's like a really simple integration for protocols to have a DEX built into their system and then make use of all this liquidity from all of these protocols who are using this platform. I think this is a really brilliant concept. I want to take a deeper dive, but I really love the idea of a network of liquidity from all the protocols working together. I don't think they've had a ton of penetration yet into the market because this is a big biz dev job. But if you really think about it, it's in every protocol's best interest to control these pieces of it. Now, I don't know how much on the back end they make available, et cetera, but it's still a really cool concept to me. So yeah, I mean, they're just getting started. $11.56 million in volume in the last 24 hours, 5,472 transactions. So they haven't penetrated the market a lot yet, but the idea to me is really, really powerful. So I'm really glad to see that. And I guess it's cross chain too, because there's BNB and ETH in here. But I love this idea. I love this concept.
Yeah, it is cool.
Niblet says
that's something they can use. Look, that's something that can be used to your advantage in this consolidation wars I mentioned early on.
Right.
If you got a way where, because I have a couple of clients now that are doing listings and things like that, and helping them with, and just the amount of money it takes to do that, and then you're coming to a new chain or a new platform. It seems to me that there is a pitch that is, what you just said, that you're basically using everybody else's liquidity to set up your liquidity pools on that chain. And I think that could be a really critical, I'd like to see it. Well, I don't know if it's possible, but I'd like to see it on a bigger platform, obviously, to see how it holds up. But to me, that's an interesting experiment right there. So let's pay attention to these guys.
Yeah, I really like this. I really like these kinds of things. So they've done so far since launch 269 million in volume, right? Not much in the whole world of decentralized exchanges, but it is still definitely a model that makes a shit ton of sense if they can get traction with a lot of different protocols. And like you said, a couple of big ones to really help drive it. But yeah, I love the idea. Niblet says, any opinions on what is happening in Web3 investments? Are investors all running? Is it just the tourist VCs that are running? What do new projects do for funding? Just lean up and hope? Look, I think everybody's still a little gun shy, but I had a call this morning with a project I've worked with in the past, that raised around in the last month and is very happy with where things ended up. I think people are just being a little quieter. I think the deals are being structured a little differently. I think there's more due diligence. And yes, I think there has been some pullback, but I don't think it's as extreme as we sensed it might be. I think that there's still plenty of money circulating around and being invested right now. So now I also think that you're going to take people that were splitting between crypto and startups. You're going to see a lot of money pouring into AI. None of these VCs are going to want to miss out. And so they will probably reapportion. But the regular ones, the pure DeFi investors, the pure crypto guys, what are they going to do? They got money to invest, and they need to see the ecosystem grow. So it's in their best interest to find, people that are still building in this space. And frankly, the best teams that are going to be building in this space are the ones that are still building right now. We talk about that all the time, but that you're going to get hardcore folks right now. So to me, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think when you take people's money, they give it to you to invest it. They don't give it to you to sit there and collect management fees off them.
Exactly.
So if they don't invest it, people will start pulling until people will invest it. But I don't really see any big slowdown out there. I see projects getting funded all the time that I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Some of this shit, I'm just like, I wouldn't give them money. But, I'm not sitting there on 10 billion that I have to invest, or a billion that I have to invest. So when you have to invest it, then some projects, because they're good people, maybe not the best idea, will get money.
Yeah.
Great ideas will get money with not the best people.
Look at last week.
You don't see it.
Yeah, here we go. We're not seeing all the deals here in the DeFi Llama platform, but last week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 deals closed. Anywhere from, these are all seed round looking deals, 2.5 to 7.5 million. So the money's still flowing. I think that there's still opportunities. I asked because ONG investments have been drying up, and I'm wondering if there's analogous dynamic with Web3. Oil and gas has been drying up.
Yeah. I'll say, let me comment on that real quick.
Slow down, not dry up. Go ahead.
Well, and also oil and gas is sort of, I don't think anybody would call it the future. I think Web3, investment money goes toward the future. Oil and gas, I'm not saying there's not a ton of exploration going on. It's not going to be trillions of dollars still made. But, with all the pivots to electric vehicle, not commenting on the merits of it, but, all the goals there, oil and gas looks to me to be a harvesting industry to me. That's being harvested right now, where you're going to extract the wealth. Web3 is still in discovery phase. So, people will go for it because they want to go hit the next Amazon or the next Google or whatever. But in oil and gas, you're not going to get that. Yeah. And pretty much everybody knows it. But what you are going to get is, steady Eddie, 16% money kind of thing, or whatever. I'm making that number up. I don't know what the number is, but it's going to be, it's not T-bill number. Let's put it that way. Right. And then you just got to justify if you're, do you have a moral filter on investment? Yep. And then that's your choice. But, oil and gas, I don't think, I think there's still plenty of money to be made there.
Yeah. So, Sean is saying, unfortunately, there's lots of hard data here. Deal flow and money being vested are an all-time low. I know you're looking at that data, Sean, and I'm sure it's lower. But I think investing's still happening, and I think there's people still looking for solid investments. But Sean, please share the charts. You're referencing for that. I'd love to see that data. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
And it could be that there's like fewer deals. I mean, maybe there's more deals, lower money, like lower average investment size, because of the market. Where it is right now. You're going to want to find the earliest stuff. And you're planning for the next market cycle at this point. So, I could see the round sizes being smaller, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I agree with that.
So,
Stripe is continuing to further expand their crypto pieces. They've now launched a hosted option for fiat to crypto. And so basically you can put a widget in your website and get people to exchange for fiat to crypto. So that's great.
That's huge, dude. That's huge.
With their APIs, you can then connect it into your shopping cart or to your application or your DApp or whatever it is, right? So, Stripe is not a small player. Stripe is no longer, new boy startup. It is a massive player in the credit card processing industry, and they power a large number of players. So this kind of connections are the kinds of things that allow us to say, oh, hey, fintech people, you already have a Stripe integration. Why wouldn't you be offering crypto to your users, right? So those are opportunities there.
I was talking to a group that I don't know if they're not a client yet, but very DeFi for institutions guys, and very, very interesting products that they're doing. And I can't share right now because they asked me not to, but we'll get them on the show. And then when you see the level of analysis that's going in and the institutional look of product that's going toward the institutional people, and then you hear like just everything we talked about today. I mean, if we weren't listening to outside news and we just listened to what we talked about, it would sound like everything's booming.
Right.
I mean, other than the VC money and the deals, that. But there is just the players that are in there, and the transitions. The Stripe thing is absolutely huge. It negates.
Yep.
The MetaMask thing, those all negate. The Redeem, the new guys that I found, Toby Rush's group, moving money around via the phone number, moving crypto around via the phone number. I mean, there's all this stuff that can't be choked off, I guess, as easily. Yeah. So, when I come into this like Monday morning session, and I'm like sitting there, Monday morning always kind of a drag somewhat, but it was kind of like all negative.
Yeah.
And then we do the show and we see all the positive stuff that's going on, and it makes me want to get out my checkbook. It's just like, because it's it's all positive right now to me.
Yeah.
Once you get that ability to move crypto around in these different platforms where the users don't see it as a task, they see it as, I don't know, like a speed dial thing. That's a good one, speed dial for crypto.
Yeah,
Then, you kind of like, it takes all the user adoption stuff out that you always hit on constantly. And then to me, that, when the next wave comes, I don't want to say it's going to be unstoppable, but there's going to be a lot more decentralization in the on and off ramps at that point. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
So
By the way,
see good stuff.
MetaMask has enabled PayPal purchasing in the wallet, so you can use PayPal to buy ETH if you want to as well. So,
did we ever figure out if you could move crypto into your PayPal wallet or into PayPal and pay your PayPal bill with it? Are people doing that yet?
I don't know if they're doing that yet. I do know Venmo is now enabling exiting with your crypto out of their wallet. But I don't know if PayPal is allows you to pull.
They're a sub of PayPal, right?
And then use it. Yeah, Venmo's owned by PayPal. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Sean said he posted the data on the TG channel. I'll find it and surface it for a link in the show notes. Less deals, less average investment sizes, says Sean. He said he moved the data to the bottom of the BTC channel in TG. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Saw me floundering around trying to find it. I will put that in the show notes. That's great. This is really odd to me, but whatever. Alibaba Cloud builds metaverse launchpad on Avalanche. So Cloudverse, the launchpad, is designed to provide an end-to-end platform for companies to customize and maintain their metaverse spaces. So Alibaba's still betting on metaverse platforms, but okay.
Well, maybe that'll fly in China.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to be locked up. But, I just don't get it. Why? How many metaverses are out there now? Bazillions. And it's like, what does it mean? Everybody I see Matrix in my head, or I see that other movie that was out a few years ago where they're in this futuristic world and they're always sitting in these chairs. I think was Bruce Willis in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're always, logged in or whatever. Does it ever get that bad? I guess it could.
I guess it could.
But it's not my style. It's like,
let me find this. This is really fascinating. I watched a TED Talk by the founder of this company called Humane yesterday. And he and his wife are former Apple executives responsible for Apple phone developments, all kinds of innovations at the company. They recruited 60 Apple executives, designers, and developers to join this company. And he, you know what? Let me find this link. Hold on. I'll show you the quickly of spot of the video. But he demoed their entire model is AI-based compute devices that you can't see. They're little tiny wearable things on your jacket. And they allow you to still interact with all of the network using AI. So you're talking to the AI in your ear and interacting with it. It's interacting, has a camera and interacting with the world around you, processing things, etc. But he gave an example. He had his wife call him while he was on stage, and her number came up on the palm of with a light from the device he was wearing that projected onto his hand that his wife was calling, and then he could tap the answer button and answer the call. And their entire model is that they want to eliminate the requirement to have screens to interact with compute, right? Which is where I think we all think it eventually goes. There will still be screens needed for display of certain things and information and gaming and everything, but they are, this is a company that looks really powerful. Looks like it has some real opportunity. I'll post a link to the TED Talk video. And they've already done a lot of the work to integrate AI at the core of their compute, and it's deviceless, right? You're just, in terms of, it's screenless. You're not dealing with a screen per se. So it's very interesting.
No, that's the key leap. That is the key leap. Because I know we always talk about voice and things like that, or, holograms or heads up displays, like fighter jet cockpit displays. But it has to, I always look at it like when we have that zoom filter up and you can move in and out of it, like on the show, you can lean forward and it goes out if you have a background up. Yep. To me, that's what AI has to be like, that, you're not in it. You're kind of like dipping a toe in when you need something, let's say,
Right.
but you're still living a real heads up world walking around. And I think what social media did is it got everybody to stop looking at everyone and got everybody to start looking at a device, walking around, doing all this stuff when, nobody really wants to do that.
Right.
Nobody really wants to sit on a Chase lounge for a month straight. Maybe you want to, but you're not going to like the end result.
Exactly.
But, it's like it has to be what these guys are saying, where when you need it, it shows up like just-in-time inventory, and when you don't need it, you don't have anything to do with it. So I like that kind of progress. That's interesting.
Yeah. Here he is. I think he's about to talk to his wife on the phone here. You can see what I meant. And then he had like instances where the AI knows that he's not supposed to eat certain foods, and it can see what he's eating, and it'll say to him, "Hey, that's not, on your diet." He said it's not mandatory, but you can have it set that way that it'll say to you, "Oh, I've analyzed that food you're about to eat, and that's not, good for you," or whatever. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. So yeah, this is him talking to his wife on his hand, basically, right? And he has a little thing on his jacket that's projecting that onto it. It has the camera. It's right there on the jacket. So it's cool shit.
That's cool.
Look, here's what's happening is we have all of this technology converging at the same time, and all of it hitting exponential growth patterns. So we're in an incredible place in the world right now. So I'm excited about it. Niblet says metaverse related movie recommendations. A recommendation, 13th Floor. I have never heard of it. I will take a look.
We'll take a look right now.
A good movie. Interesting premise is that it's recursive metaverses. Oh, that sounds terrifying and cool. So, all right, dude, got to get some work done.
1999 is when that movie was filmed.
Oh shit! Really? Wow.
No, that was kind of interesting. Computer scientist running a virtual reality simulation of 1937 becomes the primary suspect when his colleague and mentor is murdered.
Wow.
We'll have to check that bitch out.
Oh, I want to check that out. I'm going to add that to Real Good. That's awesome.
Oh, it's a date? Oh, no, that's an album. Sorry, that's something different. All right, cool, man. I'm good. You got anything else?
No, that's it. Everybody, thank you so much for participating and listening and watching. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Niblets. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Shizzy. Was that everybody today? Yep. And thank you, Max Life. Appreciate it. Love that you guys are here. If you have not joined the community yet, you should. t.me/mission DeFi, t.me/mission DeFi. I find that it only takes about 45 repetitions before somebody goes and joins us, Joe. So we'll just keep going at it.
That's because, they're moving. They're like driving around doing stuff while listening to us for the most part. So it goes into like they need that AI heads up display that puts it into the to-do list for you automatically.
Exactly. If you like what we're doing, please take a minute to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I know it's a pain in the ass, but it would greatly help us keep going and boost this and boost the algorithm and get us more viewers and listeners, et cetera, et cetera. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to click the subscribe button, click the little bell to get alerted when new episodes come out. And as Joe would tell you to please smash the thumbs up. We love you guys. Yeah. Appreciate you. Joe, have a great afternoon. Have a great Monday. Everybody else have a great Monday.
Go get your media credentials for BTC Miami.
I'm going to go take care of that right now, buddy.
All right, bro. Talk to you later. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.